A capacity crowd, better than 20,000 turning out of the NCI Center in Washington for the Indiana Pacers and the Washington Wizards. And as we close in on the All-Star break, look at the Eastern Conference race. Indiana and Washington vying for playoff position. The Pacers at 25-23. The Wizards with 4 wins in their last 5 games. At 23 and 21, and they continue their dramatic turn from last year's 19 victory season. Sparked by this man, playing Michael Jordan, who's had a remarkable comeback run as he continues to add to the legend. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Allen over at Google. Steve Stafford Jones, and Bill, there may be some different motivation on the line today here. Michael Jordan. He still lost a bit points previously in both games. Jordan struggled, including the career low 6-point performance against the Pacers back in late December.
Or more than anything else, though, Michael must make up for missed opportunities a couple of games after that 6-point outing. He scored 51 points and became the oldest player in NBA history to score 50-plus. Michael Jordan has turned the Wizards into a real team with a winning style now. He's 38 years old now. In the 7th leading scorer in the league at 25 in the last 5 games. He's been absolutely terrific. 33 points on almost 50% shooting, up from 42% on the season. And I have to bring it all today because he has struggled against the Pacers and their youthful, athletic last year. But with Michael Jordan, will wonders ever see? Not only has he turned back the clock, he has turned back old man Winter. Been wondering to why me next?
Bill, you are so right. Steve, to the subject of the Indiana Pacers, they have been a team of streaks. They have won the last 2, but in the big picture, they have lost 7 in the last 11. What is going on with this ball?
As their season has been, it's been full of great moments, but the reason that they play poorly is because shot selection gets shoddy, they turn the ball over, and they don't get back. And when those things happen, they struggle. They're starting to play better, and one of the reasons is Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller is a guy that they still count on to make big shots and to really rally them and show them how to play in big moments. His numbers don't reflect his dominance in their offense that they have in past seasons. Numbers are down, percentage of the offense is down, but no player, including the winemaker, loves the big stage more than Reggie Miller.
All right, so coming up on this Super Sunday, it's the first of our NBA doubleheader. It'll be the Wizards and the Pacers to be followed by the Lakers and the Mavericks. Back with the opening tip. Bender, who has been seeing more time as of late and has played well. Jermaine O'Neal is headed to the All-Star game at center. Reggie Miller and Travis Best in the backcourt. The Wizards with Michael Jordan and Tyrone Nesby up front. Nesby playing well as of late. Jahidi White is back from the 1-game suspension. Richard Hamilton is back in the starting lineup. And he's in the backcourt with Chris Whitney. Right now, let's check in with Lewis Johnson. Lewis?
All right, Marv, thanks a lot. Well, Richard Hamilton has missed 17 games over this season with a pulled groin, and Doug Collins working Hamilton back slowly over the last 2 games to get him back in the starting lineup. Hamilton played 17 minutes against Cleveland on January the 31st, and then 24 minutes against Atlanta 2 days ago, and both of those games he came off the bench. Now, Collins told us that the first game that Hamilton struggled a bit, but the second game he looked better. Michael Jordan told me just a few minutes ago that it's big. He's happy to see him back. Indiana can focus on Hamilton and give him a little bit of a break. That's what he's hoping for. Marv?
All right, Lewis, the officials, Danny Crawford, James Capers, and Leon Wood. And the Pacers control the opening tip. They come off a victory over the Knicks at home on Friday night. This is a team that started the season at 6-2. They lose 4 in a row. As we touched on earlier, they have had their ups and downs, and a foul, a reach-in is called on Nesby. And recently they have struggled. They had that 5-game losing streak. Jermaine O'Neal was out for a while, and they have lost 7 of their last 11.
And a big loss for them has been the loss of Al Harrington, who was an energy guy, but 6'9", very versatile, big and strong. And against the Wizards, he really gave Jordan trouble. So we'll see if Jalen Rose can get into Jordan the same way.
Here is Travis Best.
Key to this game for Washington is all about pace. Indiana, they want to get it going up and down. They've got the young front court that just pounds up and down Doug Collins very concerned in our pregame meeting about the tempo and who's going to control it.
Well, a lot of that is going to happen when they make shots. If they make shots, then it's going to be difficult.
Beautiful setup from Jordan to Jahidi White. Jahidi White back from that one-game suspension for the headbutt of Zydrunas Ilgauskas of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Here is Best, so he's come out shooting, and the game is tied at 2. Travis Best continuing to start for the rookie point guard, Jamal Tinsley, who did make his return the other night against the Knicks, but still bothered by that hip and groin problem.
Best, a consummate professional, never let his diminished playing time bother him.
Richard Hamilton with a nice move. And as Lewis reported just a moment ago, the Wizards very happy to have Hamilton back. This is 3rd game back after missing the 17 games with that groin muscle tear. So the game is tied at 4. Jermaine O'Neal with his first bucket.
Neither team able to deny guard penetration in the early going. Somebody's got to play some defense out there and force some outside shots.
Again, Jordan with the setup. Nesby blocked by O'Neal. Hamilton gives it up. Here's White. White on the tip.
If anybody's learned where they're going to be successful on this team, it's been Jahidi White. He never gets out of the 2-3 foot area. Now, Travis Best was really upset about not starting. And now that he's starting, yeah, he's happy, but don't say he's a consummate pro when he has to be traded.
He didn't have to. He's a free agent at the end of the season. He just wants to be out there. He was happy for Jamal Tinsley's success.
Here is Nesby. And the Wizards now lead by the score of 8-4. He was happy for Jamal Tinsley's success.
Well, that's
He's rooting for the guy to take his job.
That is one of the real signs
that just
of maturity.
Yeah.
When your joy comes from the success of others. It's called leadership.
He doesn't have it.
Talking about me or Travis Best? Oh.
Travis Best.
All right, here is Michael Jordan with his first attempt.
Transition defense. Who's got it for Washington? Can't be arguing with the refs.
O'Neal not able to hit, and I love when a guy misses a layup and says, my fault. Jordan off the dribble and played well by Rose, forced to give it up.
What they want Jordan to have to do is to work to get those points, expend a lot of energy.
Nice lead pass. It'll count. It's a goaltend.
Beautiful backdoor cut. But what has happened to the give and go in basketball? It just doesn't seem to exist anymore. Rip Hamilton able to convert magnificently. Jermaine O'Neal loves to use that left hand on both ends of the court in the basket area.
This is the 3rd of 4 meetings between these two teams. Indiana winning the first 2. Here's Best again. They won in Indianapolis on Thanksgiving night. That's the game that saw Al Harrington do such a good job against Michael Jordan. Hamilton, yes. And then late December, Pacers won 108-81. Jordan had 21 points Thanksgiving night and had to work hard to score the 21. And then in late December, the game that we talked about, just 2 for 10 and a career low 6 points.
You ask why they have trouble. You can see right now the Pacers starting to stand. They're not sure where they want to go with the ball, and then they end up fighting the shot clock, and that's what gets them in trouble.
That was Reggie's first shot. He'd gone so long he had to force it.
O'Neal, Jermaine O'Neal having a career season in his 7th NBA campaign, and he's only 23 years old. Wired from Portland on the deal for Dale Davis following 5 years with the Blazers. Whitney.
Indiana has been terrific at trading aging stars for young, promising talent.
O'Neal able to get to that lob. Jermaine O'Neal.
He is going to beat Jahidi White, Popeye Jones up and down the floor. They've got to do a better job of getting back to him. Otherwise, it's a layup all night long for him.
6:45 remaining in the first. Wizards with a 12-10 lead.
Jordan, not a good three-point shooter by the numbers this year.
Oh, power move by White. who was able to get down deep.
Jermaine O'Neal, an all-star, one of the premier shot blockers in the entire NBA. Jahidi White just looked at him and then threw a dunk right in his face. The wonders ever cease.
Here is Rose. Jermaine O'Neal has scored the last 8 points for Indiana. Jordan, yes.
But we're seeing a real style and identity, a continuity offense here, something that not a lot of teams run in the NBA these days, not an isolation game.
But the Wizards have to run kind of a continuity offense because they need to make teams defend against them and control the tempo of the game. They get a mistake.
Hamilton over Best. So the Wizards, with a run, now lead it 18-10 with 5.5 remaining in this first quarter.
How about the job Tyrone Nesby doing? Coming into the starting lineup, he's a free agent as well in the offseason. Tyrone Nesby playing the defense, running out, making it all happen for Doug Collins.
Foul is called on Hamilton, and a timeout is taken. Jahidi White able to blast his way by Jermaine O'Neal. And here is Michael Jordan, who has come out looking to distribute, looking to set up his teammates, hitting on his first field goal. So the Wizards up by 8. We'll be right back. It has been an explosive start for Jermaine O'Neal. In fact, he has scored the last 8 points for the Indiana Pacers.
You know, the thing about Jermaine O'Neal is he is learning where his strengths and weaknesses are. He's always been very athletic, very quick, and against the Washington Wizards, he knows if he beats his man up and down the floor, he's going to be able to get high percentage shots, and he has made them pay. You look at Jermaine O'Neal first 4 years, you look at the last 2 seasons, what's the difference? Playing time. You cannot become an all-star sitting on anybody's bench.
When Jermaine O'Neal joined the NBA, he became the youngest player in NBA history to ever play in a game. And as Doug Collins was telling us, he's dealing with Kwame Brown right now. These young high schoolers, they're just not ready to play physically or emotionally when they get started.
That means you're not going to ask us why he's not playing today.
Oh, I'm still going to ask Marv why Kwame Brown.
We did get that question a couple of weeks ago, which I thought was properly answered, and then Doug Collins backed it up today when you asked him the question again. He's not ready. Bill, I know you like the guy.
Well, Steve just said that you're not going to get ready by sitting on the bench.
Oh, Nesby with no one boxing out, able to convert, and the Wizards now lead by 10. Jeff Foster has come on for the first time for Indiana, played a major role in that victory over the Knicks on Friday night. Here's Reggie Miller. So the Wizards now lead 20-12 with just under 5 remaining in this first quarter.
Marv, the reason that Kwame Brown is not going to get to play, these guys think they got a chance to make the playoffs. They're trying to win games. And you don't fool around with young players when you're trying to win games and make the playoffs.
Question still stands.
Yes.
That was Washington's really first error. A nice pass by Jalen Rose, but what defense by Whitney.
It's a 3-on-2. Whitney able to split through, rejected by O'Neal.
Now, this is the kind of pace that the Pacers want. They want it quick. They'll shoot it quick from all over the floor.
Jalen Rose able to knock down the 3. So the Wizards now lead 20-15. Washington at 23 and 21. They have won their last 2, beating the Hawks, beating Cleveland on that last second shot by Michael Jordan. Almost from the same spot that he hit the game winner over Craig Elo in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semis in '89 as Michael hits on his second field goal. He now has 4 points, and the Wizards lead by 7. And I think back to the 2 previous games against the Pacers, Michael getting better looks here at the start than he did in the earlier meeting.
The offense is smooth and rhythmic for the Wizards. Reggie starting to heat up, though, but with the Wizards shooting a high percentage, the ones they do miss are getting to the offensive glass, they're converting on their second chance stick-back points. They're in control of that tempo early. Indiana not able to run.
And Jordan is fouled, drawing the double, hit by Foster. For the Wizards, this is game 2 of a 4-game homestand. Toronto and Sacramento to follow. They're in a stretch playing 8 of 9 at home, and then the schedule gets very difficult. Hamilton has located the touch. 5 for 6. He has 10 points.
Well, that is the guy that really takes a lot of the pressure and focus off of Michael Jordan. When they've got Hamilton and he's going well as he is now, it's much easier for Michael Jordan to rest and relax and not feel he has to carry things.
Offensive foul. Illegal pick. Called on the Pacers, Jermaine O'Neal.
Michael Jordan doing it all. He's been passing, he's been shooting, going to his left, eschewing the pump fake there. All Washington in the early going.
Eschewing the pump fake.
It's normal basketball terminology. This week, it was Wednesday night at Conseco Fieldhouse. Reggie Miller against the Memphis Grizzlies. And hit this three-pointer game winner, although his foot appeared to be on the line, but they were able to pull out the win. And then shades of the jumper over Craig Elo, as we mentioned earlier. Michael Jordan beating the Cavaliers on Thursday with that dramatic final second jumper.
Two of the game's greatest game-winning performers in NBA history. I just want to know, though, if either Reggie or Michael have reached the Larry Bird level where they go out and they tell the other team what the play is before it happens.
Yeah, you know it.
Kick ball, Travis Best.
Washington's offense has been spectacular. The high percentage shooting continues. They have yet to turn the ball over, not allowing Indiana to get into any fast break opportunities. The Pacers, on the other hand, have 3 turnovers in the early going here.
Now Jamal Tinsley has come on for Travis Best, leads with 2 points and 4 assists. As we discussed earlier, Jamal has been bothered by hip and groin injuries since back in early January. He's been playing hurt. Nesby with some room.
Oh, it's beautiful basketball. Pick and roll, step back, hit jumpers. The ball movement has been exquisite for the Wizards.
Jamal Tinsley, the rookie from Iowa State. Tinsley gets inside on Whitney. Tinsley grew up in Brooklyn, did not play high school basketball, played in the Rucker League in Manhattan, and then at Iowa State, led the Cyclones to 2 Big 12 titles in his 2 years, and was a forgotten man in the draft. He fell all the way down.
You forgot his 2 years at Mount San Jacinto College near
right.
Palm Springs.
You are correct.
Near the Banning Pass. I mean, that is a beautiful area. Idlewild.
Fouls called on Reggie Miller. Jamal was a first-round pick of Memphis, traded to Atlanta, and then dealt to the Pacers. All this on draft night.
You think that those guys would like to have that day back, as Tinsley has been one of the early guys mentioned for Rookie of the Year.
Wizards up by 7, just under 2 to go. In this first quarter, 24-second violation is called.
Another guy who was traded a lot on draft day, Brendan Haywood, for the Wizards, who will soon join the fray.
They did not know what was happening with the shot clock. Collins gets up and reminds them, guys, we can't make mistakes like that. And you don't want to have your Heidi White being the guy 24 feet away trying to make that decision.
Quick release by Jalen Rose, and the foul is called on the Pacers.
Reggie Miller has picked up his second personal foul. Both of them trying to be a little bit more physical with Rip Hamilton. Pork chopped him a couple times. That time got him in the chest and on the jaw, and will take a seat.
And Indiana's over the foul limit, so Hamilton to the free throw line. Courtney Alexander has checked in for the first time, and he had been a forgotten man, spending much time on the injured list. One of those situations, though, where for the most part he was told what the injury was. Doug Collins telling us earlier that when Courtney was not starting, he just did not handle it very well, coming off the good finish that he had last season. Doug said he's working harder, he's in better shape, but I'd like to see him do more than just take the jump shot.
Love to see Courtney Alexander get to that free throw line a lot more. Now he's getting torched on defense.
Yes, Jalen Rose over Courtney Alexander. So the Wizards now lead 28-21.
Well, the Wizards know that teams will score on them, and they have to be able to execute at this end of the floor.
Offensive foul
Can Washington keep the offensive wizardry going while Jordan is on the bench? He's been playing 40 minutes a game the last 5, which is a little bit more than Doug Collins wants.
Foul on Popeye Jones, who had just checked in. A lot of whistles here. And now Jalen Rose is called for the offensive foul. So the ball back to Washington.
What a difference from yesterday, where not a single call was made. The game got out of control.
Yes, talking of the Bucks and the Sixers, which became very physical in the second half. Teron Lue now comes on for the first time, replacing Chris Whitney. Michael Jordan getting a rest. Michael sitting down after hitting 2 of 3 from the field for 4 points. Alexander with a rainbow jumper.
It's a fresh Washington team we're seeing right now. Not a deep team. A team that every game has become a spectacular, and now they've really found some freshness to their legs.
Washington by 9. Jonathan Bender twisting his way. What a first half he had the other day against the Knicks. He had 18 points in the first half for the most part from the perimeter.
But he is a terrific perimeter player, and if he continues to drive the ball like he did last time, his game is only going to blossom and really grow.
Foul called on Foster.
Washington continues to move the ball beautifully, and the quick hitting attack has really paid big dividends.
One thing that Jonathan Bender is getting better at is reading when he has this kind of lane. Look how long he is and how easy it is for him to almost just reach in, put the cap on that.
How about the job that Donnie Walsh has done, though, trading Davises, Antonio and Dale, for these 2 young stars, Jermaine O'Neal and Jonathan Bender. Looked questionable at the beginning, but it's really starting to pay huge dividends for the Pacers at this point.
What he said he was looking for was a great player. Other teams have great players, and he's hoping either Harrington, O'Neal, or Bender turn out to be a great dominant player for him, so one of them's got to shine.
Heidi White. It's 1 of 2 at the line. 15 seconds remaining in this first quarter. The Wizards have an 8-point lead.
No foul to give either team.
Now Tinsley working on Lue. Final seconds. And the foul is called on Lue.
I guess he didn't hear you. No foul to give. Good job by Tinsley to go into him and spin away. And they do have a foul to give.
My mistake, excuse me.
Out of 4 and 3/10 seconds remaining in this first quarter, and away from the ball, a holding foul against the Wizards, Rip Hamilton. So now the Pacers will go to the line with Washington over a foul limit.
You don't play as long as Reggie Miller has played and not know how to draw a foul. But whenever you put your hands on Reggie Miller, you are going to get a guy that's going to fly away from you and get the official that's into it.
Reggie Miller, 92% from the line. He's second in that department in the NBA. Well, you can log on to NBA.com for complete coverage of NBA All-Star 2002. Plus, on Saturday night, you can be the judge with online fan voting at the NBA.com slam dunk. Final seconds of the quarter. Hamilton gets it off in time. Well, what a quarter for Richard Hamilton, making his first start since his return. Well, as we approach the All-Star break, look at some of the teams that have been going well. These are the clubs that have been hot as of late. Sacramento, 16 wins the last 17 games. Dallas Mavericks coming up in the second doubleheader against the Los Angeles Lakers. They've won 11 of the last 13. How about the turnaround by Miami playing this afternoon in New York against the Knicks? And we've seen quite a bit of Philadelphia recently. They come off a win in Milwaukee yesterday. They have won 9 of 11. Meanwhile, George Karl very upset with his team. They now have dropped 5 of 6. San Antonio has gone the other way. Seattle losing 6 of its last 10.
Shocking to see George Karl lose it like he did last night.
What, by saying it's either me or them?
It's early in the season, Steve. I mean, granted, we're at the All-Star break a week from today, but to just lay it all out there like that. I mean, they had a chance to win that game.
You heard a shock value. He needs to shock his team. He needs to wake them up. He needs to wake up the entire organization. As he said, they're cool and maybe too cool about thinking that they're going to win the Central and be back in the Eastern Conference Final.
Courtney Alexander has hit both his shot attempts. Second quarter is underway, and the Wizards now lead 33-25. Indiana goes with backcourt of Tinsley and Rose. Foster is up front with O'Neal and Bender, and a traveling violation is called on Jermaine O'Neal.
Ref's doing a terrific job calling fouls, calling grabbing, calling shuffling of the feet. But the pace of this game, even though the Wizards are red hot offensively right now, they're not a high-scoring team. Indiana much more accustomed to playing in the high-octane games.
And Washington shot well in the first quarter, 14 of 22 from the field. Jordan not able to hit. O'Neal on the rebound.
Yeah, the Pacers shot 57% and the Wizards 63. So, you know, making shots has been the story. You got to match the team when they're doing that.
Foul on Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue playing hurt with a hip flexor injury that has affected his play. The Wizards still without Christian Laettner. He's been on the injured list for the second time this season with a thigh contusion. He was eligible to come off today, but Doug Collins telling us he's not back in proper shape, so he'll continue to sit it out.
They're also playing without Hubert Davis, a key shooter.
Jermaine O'Neal with the shot clock running down. Yes, Hubert sitting out once again because of the flu.
This is his third straight game missed.
Popeye Jones up front now with Brendan Haywood and Michael Jordan. Alexander kept alive by Popeye. Good second effort by Popeye Jones.
That's what Doug Collins wants, a chance to break someone down, get an offensive rebound, keep the Indiana Pacers from bouncing up and down the floor and just blowing them out.
Look at the matchup here. Courtney Alexander is guarding Jonathan Bender. They should roll Bender into the post. He's a 7-footer.
But he's not a post player.
Foster.
Steve, when Courtney Alexander's guarding you and you're 7 feet tall, you can go anywhere you want.
So Jeff Foster with his first field goal, and the Wizards now lead 35-29. Jordan draws the foul.
Jalen suckered into one there.
Was that a pump fake?
That was a pump fake going to his right. He's already made some perimeter jumpers.
That is number 3 on Rose.
Well, Reggie has 2, Jalen has 3, and Isaiah Thomas has got the look of someone on his face that what is going on here? Have we come to play today, the Pacers?
And Reggie Miller will check in. There was some discussion as to whether Jordan was in the act, but the foul was called prior to the shot. Jalen Rose is upset as he heads back to the bench after picking up his third foul.
Well, he's thinking about getting a technical. That walk is a very, very slow, and he's got something else he wants to say to the official. You know, we just had a look at offensive rebounding and the way they can do it, and that's what Collins wants, and it'll be interesting to see if they can do it in the next 9 minutes and control this game.
O'Neal off the spin, drawing the double, and a foul is called. Foul on Haywood.
There's tough matchups both directions here. Not only Courtney Alexander having to guard Jonathan Bender, but Haywood, a real big guy, doesn't have the foot speed that O'Neal has on the 15, 18-foot range. They can isolate him as well in Indiana and get what they want.
Foster backing his way on Jones. 3 minutes gone by in the second. Marv Albert, Bill Walton, Steve Snapper Jones, Lewis Johnson from the MCI Center in Washington, Brendan Haywood.
There's that transition game that Isaiah Thomas wants to exploit.
That's a good opportunity for O'Neal, even though it's a one-on-one and they get one and done.
Michael putting the move on Bender, and then Haywood is fouled.
Looked as if Haywood could have just jammed that ball the first time. He came down with it, earns himself a trip to the line.
Timeout is called. The Wizards up by 6. We'll be right back. 2:45 remaining in the first half, and the Wizards have a 35-29 lead on the Pacers. Both clubs shooting very well. Washington at 53%, Indiana at 54 as Brendan Haywood goes to the foul line.
Michael Jordan, 13 minutes played, only 4 points. Brendan Haywood, though, such a promising young talent. Played the 4 years at North Carolina. Doug Collins has some interesting stories to tell about his career there and learning under Coach Guthridge in the Dean Smith system and his motivation, how hard he's working right now, trying to establish himself as a real force for years to come.
Brendan Haywood, a first-round draft pick originally of Cleveland. You mentioned the shuffling that Haywood went through, traded to Orlando, then they deal him to Washington for LaRon Crawford and a future first-round pick.
Orlando still looking long-term down the road with cap room, but hard to give up on a guy who's 7 feet tall and runs and jumps like that.
Miller with 2 fouls now having to guard Jordan, and let's see if they try to get the third on him.
Shot clock down to 4. Oh, Lou hit Haywood in the chin with that pass.
Tough spacing that time. One of the few offensive breakdowns for the Wizards this afternoon.
Miller looking for the shot. Played well by Alexander. And Austin Crozier has checked in for the first time.
Fans applauding the transition defense of the Wizards.
Tinsley gets it to Crozier, passing on the shot. Here's Miller for 3. Wizards on the run, and Alexander by himself.
That's what happens when you shoot deep and that ball rebounds long like that. It turns out to be the first pass for a fast break, and that will keep things under control for Doug Collins.
This Indiana team should be playing a lot better basketball.
Foster, biggest lead of the game for the Wizards. They're up by 10. There's Tyronn Lue able to work his way free.
Pacers are not rebounding.
Oh, Haywood able to slam it home.
The few shots that the Wizards missed, they're getting their offensive rebounds, and Isaiah Thomas has seen enough. He desperately needs a timeout. They need adjustments in a big-time way.
Isaiah upset. His team is down by 12.
You know, Reggie Miller is the master of using screens and running his opponent off of them. And even though Michael Jordan has been a great defender, he's going to get lost and bounced around. And Miller's going to get some wide open opportunities. It's just a question of getting a rhythm and finishing the play.
I don't care how good you are. If you get 3 screens, you're going to get a wide open shot. Michael Jordan, one of the 4 greatest defensive players in NBA history, he's not going to be able to burst through 3 guys.
Yeah, who are the other 3?
Well, Bill Russell, Scottie Pippen, and anybody you want.
So Jordan is number 3.
No,
and
one
fourth person.
One of the 3.
You said
No,
4.
I said 1 of 4.
We're still getting the 4th. We'll have to work the rest
It's
of
your
the
choice. There's a lot of guys up there.
Miller firing from deep. Trying to draw the foul on Michael Jordan. 41-29, the Wizards in front.
How do you get out of a statement like that?
I'm not trying to.
Stevie has become so confusing, in particular when we have to go back-to-back games here in different cities. Very difficult.
Most people would want to know the 4, but it's anyone you'd like.
Tinsley is rejected by Haywood. Pacers have missed their last 7 shots. Here comes Lou, and then pops it out.
Nice ball movement.
Lou played on a switch by Crozier. Still plenty of time on the clock, and Tinsley gets a hand on it.
Yeah, Tinsley did a nice job of shadowing Popeye Jones and then coming underneath to tip that ball away. Foster out, O'Neal back in.
Now Richard Hamilton will check back in. He had an outstanding first quarter with 12 points, 3 assists. Courtney Alexander will sit down.
We're seeing just a great level of professionalism by the Washington Wizards, coming out, just taking the attack to them all game long.
Haywood again able to get inside, and the Wizards now lead by 14.
Nice job that time of Alexander getting the ball, coming back to Haywood after he dropped the last ball to him.
Jermaine O'Neal, rebounded by Crozier. Austin Crozier continues to struggle.
At some point, you just have to say, make a shot.
Well, Crozier feels he has to make shots, and that one he just quick shot it.
Teron Lue felt Jermaine O'Neal was right on him. Here's Miller. Yes. And the foot on the line. It's a two-pointer. Indiana had missed their previous 9 shots, so the Wizards now lead 43-31 as we come up on 5 minutes remaining in the first half.
The Wizards' ball movement, their vision, their passing, everything, just a thing of beauty. Shocking. Who would have ever thought a year ago that the Washington Wizards would be playing like this?
Foul is called. Foul on Jermaine O'Neal. Here's Brendan Haywood. Able to beat Jermaine O'Neal. And then Reggie Miller stops the drought. They had missed 9 straight. Timeout taken. 5:06 remaining first half. Here in Washington, the Wizards with a 43-31 lead on the Pacers, and the Wizards getting major production today from Richard Hamilton. And as you can see, the combination of Michael Jordan and Richard Hamilton, this prior to Hamilton's injury, the 5th best twosome in the league.
What Rip Hamilton does is make shots, and he's very good without the basketball. He gets in trouble when he chases the ball and has to force his offense, but you give him an open shot, he's going to knock it down from 18 feet and in. Tough offensive threat for the Wizards.
Richard Hamilton, the only other Wizard besides Michael Jordan averaging in double figures. Just 2 Wizards more than 10 points a game. And how about the combination of Jahidi White and Brendan Haywood? They've combined for 13 points and 8 boards already.
Jordan is being guarded by Reggie Miller. They're still not working to get that 3rd foul against Miller.
Shot clock down to 3. Teron Lue comes up short, rebounded by Jonathan Bender. Isaiah Thomas now going with a backcourt combination of Tinsley and Best. Oh, Jordan very physical in defending on Miller. Here's Crozier. Austin Crozier with a nice jump hook for his first field goal, and the Wizards now lead by 10.
Have a philosophy as an offensive post scorer. Fake one way, go the other, and get in the air. Same thing for Richard Hamilton.
Now, Tinsley and Best are playing together, and we'll see if Best starts to get really offensive minded.
Oh, that jump hook got Crozier going, gaining the confidence, so Austin able to hit from downtown.
All starts with great guard penetration. Jamal Tinsley able to break down Lue off the dribble.
Washington's lead is down to 7.
Bring it to Jordan to settle him down.
Michael wide open and gets the friendly roll. That's his 3rd field goal. 3 of 6. 6 points. Wizards up 45-36.
Well, you know, the Indiana Pacers have handled this team so easily that I think that they thought all of the games were going to be the same way and haven't really begun to work yet.
Nice defensive stand by Haywood that time, not fighting on the fakes.
Teron Lue finding himself wide open. Rebounded by Crozier. Coming up on 3 minutes remaining in the first half. Wizards up by 9. They've led by as many as 14. Bender off the dribble, finding Crozier, and you can see the Pacers are picking it up here over this stretch in the second quarter.
They finally found some sort of offensive rhythm here, other than just guys jacking up ill-advised shots off their own dribble. Finally some ball movement.
Jordan. Rebounded by Bender.
Bender doing a real good job of defensive rebounding.
Tinsley penetrating and draws the fouls on Lue. Now the Wizards take a timeout with 2:41 remaining in the first half.
Well, Michael Jordan has been very selective about when he's shooting, but the opportunity that he's getting, those are the ones he's going to make the most of, and he gets that teaser to fall in. But it has been Austin Crozier bringing the Indiana Pacers back, and if he plays inside like that, it's going to be a big app.
They're so helpful, aren't they?
And how they can understand it in Salt Lake City. You're sitting right next to me and you have no clue.
Not only did I not understand, the city did not, the entire club did not. A couple of minutes ago, we saw some physical play with Michael Jordan defending Reggie Miller. And of course, these guys go back. There was a regular season game back in February of 1993. Heated rivalry between the Chicago Bulls and the Indiana Pacers. And watch this. Reggie Miller getting involved with Michael Jordan.
On a regular basis, they used to go at each other, and at that time, Jordan was getting all of the play for being the dominant physical player, and Reggie Miller does not like to back down from anybody.
You hate to see it ever break down to violence, but I admire the guys who are willing to attack and go right at Michael Jordan. Over the course of his brilliant career, a lot of guys have just cowered away from Jordan, saying, hey, I don't want any part of this. He's going to light me up. He's going to posterize me. Reggie says, hey, give me some of that. I'm coming right back at you. Kudos to Reggie.
Wizards now lead 45-39 as we come up on 2.5 remaining in this first half. Offensive foul. It's on Brendan Haywood.
So some mistakes by the Washington Wizards, and they've allowed the Pacers to get back in the ball game. Big possession here could make it a 4-point game.
And the combination of Tinsley and Best have done a nice job with Bender, Crozier, and Miller. Reggie up in a small forward position. Oh, Bender rejected by Haywood.
Numbers for Washington get their transition game going. Hey, Nesby has played a very intelligent, patient, disciplined game. Nesby, the master of discipline for Washington today.
Just saying, as opposed to his energetic style as a member of the Clippers even earlier this season with the Wizards. Shot clock is running down. Whitney pops it.
Look at Haywood.
Once again, Haywood on the box out, getting in front of Bender.
Bigger and stronger, and that's the reason he was able to put that one back in. The last time down, Bender showed that ball too soon, and he went by everybody, thought he was going to be able to fly like an eagle.
Oh, Austin Crozier feeling it. So Crozier with 9 points on 4 for 5 from the floor. Austin Crozier 2 games back, 1 for 7. Then Friday night just played 5 minutes, missed his 2 shot attempts. Nesby
just missed.
And deflected out by the Pacers.
Jonathan Bender and Austin Crozier have been magnificent in this comeback attempt, but with Bender just getting rejected, packed, send it back.
Hamilton on a quick release. Austin Crozier with the rebound. Crozier has 9 of the Pacers' last 10 points.
You know, he's a very streaky player, and he's on a good roll, but they've been giving him some shots without a lot of pressure on him. Here's another one. Travel.
Off the fake.
Oh, that's a tough call. Doug Collins up off the bench saying, what is a traveling violation anyway?
Foul on Haywood, that is his 3rd. And team foul number 4.
They've been calling this very
You ever see a coach go searching for an official? Hey, somebody pay attention down here. You don't see that traveling? Collins went to each one, and they all walked away from him.
Heidi White has come on for Brendan Haywood, who's played well. The pass from Crozier. Tinsley fouled by Nesby.
Defensively, the Wizards are starting to go to sleep. That ball is moving. People are cutting through, and now they're reacting and picking up the fouls.
You know what we've seen here today, Steve, though, opposed to yesterday when they weren't calling any fouls and they saw nothing but complaining. They're calling it very tight and strict, and nobody is complaining.
Down to 46 seconds remaining in this first half. Looking ahead next Saturday, NBA All-Stars Saturday on TNT. Coverage starting at 4 o'clock Eastern time. That will include the Rookie Challenge game, the All-Star Hoop It Up, 3-point shootout, and the Slam Dunk competition. Wizards have a 47-43 lead. And a holding foul It is on Reggie Miller. So that's 3 on Reggie.
How do you think it makes Reggie feel? He's the franchise's greatest player. He's going to the Hall of Fame. He's the all-time three-point shooting king by the numbers, Reggie Miller. And yet his younger teammate is going to the All-Star game in his stead.
Well, he deserves it. You talking about Jermaine O'Neal? Oh, he deserves it.
Absolutely, he deserved it. He deserved it last year, Jermaine O'Neal. But what about Reggie, who hasn't made it in a couple of years? Unjust.
Don't you have to win your way on this
Not
team?
unjust.
It is unjust.
Well, he's been a great player, but he's not necessarily an all-star. This season, you have to look at the entire squad. Who would you have selected instead of who's on the team?
Well, if I was in charge, things would be different around here.
I know that.
We would have another 1 out of 4, and we would only get 3.
No, but you make sweeping statements about guys who should be on the all-star team. Make it a roster of 25. You have to look at the big picture, Bill.
I heard you talking about that the other day, and I disagree with that.
You're very compassionate in handing out all-star honors. Bender not able to hit, rebounded by Jordan, and they'll hold for a final shot of the half. The Wizards are up by 6.
They've cooled off offensively, yet they have maintained their edge here. Fine first half.
And a lob misfires, intended for Nesby. Final seconds of the half. Nesby tried to save it. Here's Crozier. So that is the end of the first half. It's the Wizards 49 and the Pacers 43. Washington led by as many as 14, but the Pacers with a rally.
As we continue our coverage of the NBA on NBC, and back in the hallway a few moments ago talking to Jermaine O'Neal about the first half, and he said they really dodged a bullet. They didn't match the intensity of the Wizards in the first half. They've got to do a better job on that and cut down on the second shot opportunities they've got. Now, Isaiah Thomas was happy to see Austin Crozier in the mix. He said these are the types of games that offer good matchups for him against Dwight and Haywood, but Thomas also reiterating what O'Neal said, that they have to stop the second shot opportunities that the Wizards are getting, or they won't be able to dodge that bullet here in the second half. Marv?
All right, Lewis. Indiana ends up shooting 45% for the half, 18 of 40 from the field, and the Wizards at 46%. 21 of 46. Richard Hamilton, 5 for 9, 12 points, 4 assists. And Jermaine O'Neal leading Indiana with 10 points.
Mark, 2 real keys for the Wizards as they've held on to this solidly. Second chance points. They are killing the Pacers 14-4 on the offensive boards. And then fast break points. Indiana wants to get out and capitalize on their athleticism in this matchup with Washington. Indiana has just 5 fast break points the entire afternoon. Great job by Doug Collins in controlling the tempo.
Reggie Miller, 3 for 7, 8 points.
The guys that have to stay out of foul trouble for Indiana, Miller and Rose, they both have 3, and they are both going to have the assignment at some point here in the third quarter of defending against Michael Jordan, who should be more aggressive and looking for his shot.
Wizards at 23 and 21. They have won their last 2. And Michael gets inside. Overall, Wizards have won 4 of their last 5 games, while Indiana coming off victories over the Knicks and Memphis, but they have dropped 7 of their last 11. Back on the 5th of January, the Pacers had a record of 20 and 15 and were rolling. So they have gone the other way in recent games. Jalen Rose to draw the foul. Jalen, playing with the 3 fouls, now has 7 points.
Look at the difference in style, though. Wizards come out on a backdoor cut beautifully. Teamwork. Indiana having to go one-on-one.
Isaiah Thomas going back to Travis Best at the point. Best lost it, then recovered. Travis Best. So the Wizards now lead 51-47.
Michael Jordan comes out smiling after that play as if to say, come on, Jahidi, stick a fork in it, please.
Nesby getting the step on Bender. 3-on-2 for the Pacers.
Rose is thinking foul all the way, and he ends up turning the ball over, but he thought he got hit, and he's saying, what kind of day am I having? I can't get a whistle.
Wizards with a backcourt of Hamilton and Whitney. Jordan is up front with Nesby and White.
1-4 out in front for Washington. Jordan, can't get the easy one.
White on the putback. Heidi White with his third field goal.
And
9 points.
And the Wizards continue their domination on both ends of the boards.
Well, don't get carried away, Bill. It's only a 6-point lead.
Rose, Jalen Rose. Wizards now lead 53-49.
Now, Washington has done the job on the offensive glass, and that's what got them the lead. But when you only have a 4-point lead, then you got to do a whole lot more. Jordan inside.
So Michael Jordan with 10 points, and the Wizards now lead by 6. This is the third meeting of the season between these two clubs. Pacers won the previous 2, winning by 7 on Thanksgiving night in Indianapolis, and then a blowout in late December.
Trying to get to Rose against Rip Hamilton.
"24-second violation. Basket will not count."
Washington's defense has been exemplary today, and Isaiah Thomas, who played on one of the greatest defensive teams in NBA history, the Detroit Pistons, he just can't believe that they can't break down the Pacers. They can't break down these guys from Washington who are not good individual defenders.
Jordan off a series of moves on Jalen Rose. So a couple of buckets here at the start of the third quarter by Michael. He has 12 points. Wizards up now by 8.
Where they're getting in trouble, Indiana, is right at the point when they get the ball. They've been trying to find Rose, who has made 3 buckets from the outside.
Jalen now with 11 points, and the Wizards lead by 6. Hamilton. O'Neal got a piece of it. Hamilton on the follow.
The tenacity of the Washington Wizards, all the loose balls, all the little hustle plays going their way.
Well, Jalen Rose is feeling it.
Well, it appears as though they're trying to go at Michael Jordan, make him defend, and Jalen Rose is the guy that's delivering the buckets.
Well, there's a guy, Jalen Rose, who had 43 points on opening night at New Jersey. And here's a guy more than capable.
Jalen with 8 of his 13 points here in the second quarter to Heidi White. And Tyrone Nesby kept it alive. Back comes Travis Best. Michael Jordan deflecting it away from Jalen Rose.
You hear Isaiah Thomas calling open, so that's going to get Rose a chance to work in a one-on-one situation against Jordan.
But Washington's big men, Heidi White, they're stepping out beautifully.
One of the rare perimeter shots this afternoon from Jonathan Bender. Michael is now 6 of 12 from the field.
Has Reggie had a shot this half?
Not yet.
And Travis Best puts it down.
The 2 guys that are scoring for Indiana are Travis Best and Jalen Rose. Stayed with the game plan.
I understand that. I just don't understand why Reggie can't even get a shot.
The Wizard lead is down to 4.
The other guys are making shots, that's why.
Miller stopping the dribble on Richard Hamilton. Shot clock is down to 3. Nesby able to drill it.
Did you get the sense that he was going to shoot that ball from the minute he caught it?
Well, they're back to making shots, both teams, and in the first quarter, it was...
Oh, Bender with a facial. Jonathan Bender taking it to the rim.
No early show that time. No chance for Heidi White.
So the Wizards now lead 61-57.
Why go for pump fakes on the perimeter on guys who aren't making shots?
Nesby again. Well, Doug Collins talking about how well Tyrone Nesby has played primarily off the bench in recent games in the starting lineup this afternoon. Had a season-high 12 points the other day. Oh, once again, it's a slam dunk. This time, Jermaine O'Neal, who has 12 points. Wizards up 63-59. Indiana 8 of 10 from the field in this third quarter.
Nice passing.
Nesby
Offensive foul.
called for the offensive foul. Went right at Jermaine O'Neal. And a timeout called by Indiana.
What they have done is attack the interior, first with Jonathan Bender, this time no early show, and showing you how that length can pay off for him. And then they run again from the outside, pick and roll situation, Jermaine O'Neal over the top.
Travis Best is making it happen with his creativity, and the offensive foul, the clear out, the great defensive presence of Jermaine O'Neal causing havoc for Washington.
What a special talent he may turn out to be.
And Jonathan Bender, one of 14 players to make it directly from high school to the NBA. 3 of those players involved with the Pacers and the Wizards. Al Harrington sidelined by injury. A major blow to the Indiana Pacers. Kwame Brown has not played, but Jonathan Bender has been getting more and more playing time as of late.
But this list of 14 high schoolers straight to the league doesn't even begin to include the international players. So few of them ever go on to the university level. In other countries, they just don't have that sort of infrastructure at the athletic level for the high school players.
And a reach-in foul on Whitney. Indiana Pacers staying with the backcourt of Travis Best and Reggie Miller, who has not, as you mentioned, Bill, has not seen very much of the basketball here in the third quarter. Jalen Rose, Jonathan Bender, and Jermaine O'Neal up front.
They're 8 for 10, and, everybody that's taking a shot is making it. So it's tough to, look for a guy when everybody else is doing the job.
Well, and they continue to do the job. Travis Best has hit 4 of 6. He has 8 points. So here are the Pacers within 2.
More importantly, Travis has 7 assists, 0 turnovers, and he's running that high pick and roll magnificently.
Now, the 2 guys that got to get going, Jordan and Hamilton.
And Jordan shoots the 3. Michael Jordan. Michael, with only his 8th three-pointer of the season, 8 for 45. He's shooting around 17% from downtown.
How many did he make in that one NBA Finals game when he lit up the Portland Trail Blazers?
6.
He made 6, most of those in the first half. That first half where he had 35 points back at the old Chicago Stadium. What a game that was.
I thought you had fond memories of the Portland Trail Blazers.
I do. Have a tough loss for him yesterday.
Here's Michael, forced to give it up. Whitney, yes. Jordan with 9 of his 15, though, here in the third quarter. I recall that particular game, Jordan came out several hours earlier to shoot threes because he was not hitting the 3 and certainly turned it around in that first half.
So are you implying that he's not practicing his 3 right now? I mean, this is Jordan. He's the most dedicated, disciplined, organized practice player that we've seen in many, many years.
He can't practice everything. He's old now, Bill. He's got to cut back on some things.
He gets up every morning at the crack of dawn and goes down to that gym. Doug Collins telling us today, it's amazing how Michael Jordan sticks to his workout routine no matter what the situation is.
So are you indicating that he should be working on the 3?
No, I think he works on it a lot. I just don't think that he's getting the looks right now because nobody else is getting double teamed on this Washington Wizards team. They don't understand that triangle offense. They don't understand the importance of the attack in support of Michael Jordan to try to help him get easier looks.
Wizards back to a 5-point lead with 3:45 remaining in the third quarter. Hamilton over Miller. Now Heidi White continues to do the job off the board.
How about Richard Hamilton just looking off Michael Jordan and saying, nah, I'm not giving it to you, I'm shooting.
Michael goes to the pullback on Rose, and a defensive 3-second call on the Pacers.
Thank goodness. I was really getting concerned if they were letting that slide.
So technical foul will be awarded. The Wizards.
Well, they know how much you like that. They wanted to make you happy. You got one yesterday, one today. But there are a couple of personal challenges going out on the floor right now. Whitney and Travis Best, Jalen Rose, Michael Jordan. Jordan has 9, Jalen Rose has 8.25, and they've been going back and forth with each other. So that's why I know Hamilton, that's why I know Reggie Miller.
Washington by 6, just under 3.5 remaining in the third. Here's Whitney for 3. Yes, so Chris Whitney, who is Washington's all-time three-point leader, passing by Tracy Murray, able to hit from downtown. Best
thought he got fouled on that drive, but again, coming right back at Chris Whitney on that high pick and roll.
Hamilton coming up short.
So Nesby's really playing a ball game. He's setting screens. He's getting offensive rebounds. He's playing the D, making the opportune jumper. This is going up.
All right, Jordan putting the spin on Rose. Oh, Michael Jordan in the face of Jalen Rose, and Michael has come on in dynamic fashion here in the third quarter.
Electrifying the loyalists here at MCI Center.
Now, all that means is Jalen Rose is coming back. Now, whether he makes a shot or not, he's going to start looking at Michael Jordan. Now, they just started off early in the third quarter, and it is heated up.
And now Michael going against Reggie, finding Hamilton for 3.
Isaiah needs a timeout right now. Indiana's starting to lose control.
Wizards back up to a 14-point lead, matching their biggest lead of the game, and now the Pacers will talk it over. A 14-2 run by Washington.
The ultimate challenge for Michael Jordan coming in here was to make this into a team, and he has done that. He's got his numbers, but everybody else is playing. Vintage Michael Jordan, isolated on the wing, up against the shot clock, just knocking down jumpers.
The best thing about it is, you know, Jordan knows where he wants to go now, and this is why this matchup is more favorable to him than the Al Harrington. Harrington would not let him do this. He is more physical, stronger. The guy that held him to 6 points.
How can you keep?
42 seconds began when Michael Jordan hit from downtown, only his 8th three-pointer of the season.
Michael Jordan, who represents the conquest of substance over hype, the master of the footwork, the master of balance, master of organization, the complete game. And when you dribble one way and jump back the other way, who on this earth could ever slow that down?
Did you say the conquest of substance over what?
Hype.
Hype.
Reggie Miller's only got 7 shot attempts today in 30 minutes of action. That's inexcusable.
Well, now they may have to come to Reggie Miller. I mean, you know, the other guys start to cool off, 6 on the clock, and Reggie Miller may get back in the game.
Nice move by O'Neal, could not put it down. We were talking about Reggie, as we often do discuss these games before they take place, as we made our way from Milwaukee to Washington, and the fact that he just does not get enough shots. Hamilton somehow got it to White, and then a foul is called. We talked about it earlier with Isaiah Thomas, who was saying, well, he stays within the offense, and Reggie, even in his heyday, was a very unselfish player. But you look at box scores of the Indiana Pacers, has only 7 shots, and actually he is 3rd on the Pacers in shot attempts.
And as Isaiah said today, he is not a 9 for 30 type of player. But when you're playing with a guy who's as great as Reggie, how about running some dribble handoffs for him? Don't just make him flail away and bounce off as the pinball wizard off all these screens, but help him. Try to get him some better looks. Get him more touches.
Reminder, next Sunday, starting at 5 Eastern, right here On NBC, the festivities begin for NBA All-Star 2002. Michael Jordan back as an All-Star. He'll take the floor with the next generation of young superstars, including Allen Iverson, Vince Carter, and Shaq, and Kobe, and much more. That's next Sunday at 5 Eastern Time on NBC.
And don't forget Steve Nash and Nowitzki, who have really made a show for themselves down in Dallas. We'll see them next against the Lakers. That'll be a huge game.
Shot clock is down to 3. Alexander has to fire and hits from downtown. A fling by Courtney Alexander. The Wizards now lead by 18.
Now the Wizards duplicating their first quarter of play by finishing in a flurry. They get a foul inside to stop play, but they have done an excellent job over the last 5 minutes of just making shots. After that ball is knocked away, Alexander, and even though they say he shot happy, he can make some shots.
There's a role for Courtney Alexander. And he should be so ready when things aren't happening for Washington, when the offense is struggling, they put him in and let him just be a gunner. He's good at that.
Hamilton got a piece of it, but Rose right back. Courtney Alexander, as a senior at Fresno State, averaged just under 25 per game, led the nation in scoring. Came up strong at the end of last season, but Doug Collins pointed out to Courtney, yes, the numbers were very impressive, but the Wizards did not win many games.
He was Rookie of the Month that last month of the season, but they lost virtually every game, only winning 1 out of 9.
Here's Whitney. He hits, but it will not count. 24-second violation.
Now the Wizards on an 18-4 run, and prior to that, the Pacers had made 8 out of 10 shots. So they cool off. The Wizards heat up. Doug Collins sits down. And now we'll see if the Pacers come back with the score and can re-energize themselves for a big fourth quarter run.
But the distressing thing that I saw in that last transition play, Jalen had made a very nice offensive move. Got the bucket. And then he starts talking trash to Rich Hamilton. They're down 16. You don't be talking trash in that situation.
Trash talk is good anytime. That's what he's trying to tell you.
Nice move by Rose. Able to split through a couple of
that's
Wizards.
a taunting technical foul right there.
I'm getting some more of it.
Totally out of line. I mean, well, what is that about? I mean, this guy is an all-star level player, in my opinion, Jalen Rose. A spectacular move along the baseline. Nothing that the defenders can do about it. And then he runs over and says, "You got something to say now?" to Richard Hamilton by tugging on his earlobe. What is that about? Look at the scoreboard.
Chris Whitney, a 90% free throw shooter, not able to hit the technical.
He said, before this game is over, you're going to remember my name, Richard Hamilton, and they will end up getting a win. Now, you know, when players get inspired and Rose is starting to head in that direction, you're going to have to bring the other guy back out on the floor. 23. You know, the master of everything.
Final seconds of the third. Whitney for 3.
So close.
So the Wizards 13 of 23 from the field in the third quarter. An 18-6 run to end the quarter. Michael Jordan, 11 of his 17 points in the third. So Indiana with the good run got back into it, but the Wizards have taken over, and they lead 81-67 as we head to the fourth. We'll be back after these messages and a word. Although the Wizards have gone through a good run to take this commanding 14-point lead in the huddle just a moment ago, Doug Collins upset with his team for that 24-second violation. This directed for the most part at Chris Whitney.
Okay? What's this? We cannot hold the ball and let the clock get against us. Okay? That's your fault. Everybody. Okay?
Doug Collins, who was the NBA's Coach of the Month in December, has done a truly remarkable job of lifting the spirit and changing the entire atmosphere for a team that was so woeful. I can't even remember when the last time they had a good squad here in Washington.
Well, last year, 19-63. It's a franchise that has not won a playoff game, in 19 seasons. Jalen Rose now with 19 points as this fourth quarter gets started, and the Wizards lead 81-69.
And he continues to yap, that time at referee Jim Capers Jr.
But, you know, that's one of the reasons that Reggie can't get his hands on the ball, because you got guys that are one-on-one players that are working on their own, and when you're making buckets, you don't get a pass.
And Tyronn Lue makes a bucket, his first of the day. 1 for 6. Wizards now lead 83-69. Michael Jordan sitting down, getting some rest here at the start of the fourth quarter. He had 11 of his 17 in the third, so Doug Collins has a backcourt of Lue and Hamilton. Alexander up front with Nesby and Haywood.
But Steve, to your point, did Michael Jordan's accomplishments ever come at the expense of his teammates?
Richard Hamilton. So the good shooting continues for Washington.
No, but to respond to that, he dominated it, though. I mean, he demanded the ball. It's different. Reggie's not that kind of personality. His play dominates it, but his personality is not. Jordan will go right in your face and tell you, you don't shoot that shot. I shoot that shot.
For example, earlier in the week against Memphis, Reggie took just 7 shots going to the final minute. He missed all 7. Then he hits the 2 3-pointers down the stretch, but he took only 9 shots and did not score until the final minutes.
Well, Memphis is really playing some vastly improved defense these days. Yes.
And remember when Chris Whitney tried to take the game-winning shot earlier and Washington lost, Jordan went right up to him and said, you don't take that shot.
That's mine.
So, I mean, there's a difference.
Foul committed by Best, putting Alexander at the line. A reminder, coming up next, game 2 of our NBA doubleheader is Dirk Nowitzki and the Mavericks will host Kobe, Shaq, and the Lakers. The Mavs and Lakers coming up next right here on NBC.
Second and third best records in the league, Dallas and the Lakers. Lakers have come alive after the disappointing performance a week ago at Philadelphia. They've won every game since then. Will Shaq be able to move today? Will he be able to get running?
The question that was asked early in the season is, can anybody beat the Lakers in a series?
Rare shot there by Reggie Miller from downtown.
And they feel like whether their record is first or fifth, they're the defending champions, and you got to beat them.
Well, coming into today, Lakers at 32-12. Right now, that is the second best record in the league behind Sacramento. Hamilton.
How long will Jordan be sitting out here? Doug Collins needs to win this game.
Oh, Jalen Rose is on fire. Hits the 3. He now has 22. And the Pacers now trail 87-72.
But he is a dangerous player, and Doug Collins knows it and knows that you've got to be able to continue to hold your lead because Indiana's got a lot of firepower out there led by Jalen Rose.
Yeah, well, Jordan's at the scorer's table right now. Offensive foul. Great defense. Reggie Miller.
Tyronn Lue is called for the extending the arm and the push. That number 4 on Lue. And here comes Michael Jordan replacing Richard Hamilton, who sits down with 19.
And that Tyronn Lue, he must be the strongest player ever to be able to knock Reggie Miller off balance like that.
You noticed that?
Absolutely. I mean, he's been in that weight room with Jordan.
Miller. Reggie hits on the runner. He now has 10 points. 4 for 9 shooting for Reggie Miller.
If you're Washington, just continue the offensive blitzkrieg here. Get the ball moving. Get it to Jordan early in the shot clock.
He said don't hold the ball, and you see they're having a lot of trouble making decisions, and they're having to pop from the outside. Alexander is up to it, though.
But they're finding a role for Courtney Alexander. Just put him in, let him shoot. He's not making him, yank him, give him the quick hook.
89-74, Washington. Miller and Reggie beginning to heat up. He thought he was fouled by Alexander and discusses it with Jim Capers.
Different guard out there, too. Travis Best one-on-one. Tinsley getting more people involved.
Get moving if you're on the weak side with Jordan. What a pass.
Jordan getting it to Alexander, who is fouled, so Courtney Alexander heads to the line as Indiana takes a timeout.
Well, we've been calling for Reggie Miller, and he makes a lot of tough shots, and he's starting to find that rhythm. And, you know, it only takes a few for Reggie to remind you just how explosive he can be.
Washington up by 13. Shade over 4 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. There's Mark McGuire, the overall #1 pick in the '81 draft, one-time teammate of Isaiah Thomas, a great scorer over the years in his standout career. Now an assistant brought in by Isaiah to work with some of the younger players on their post-up moves. He's been working with Jermaine O'Neal and Jonathan Bender.
A terrific coach, Mark McGuire. What a player he was. It was when he came over from Dallas to Detroit that they were able to get to that championship level. Mark McGuire was fabulously successful as an entrepreneur in the business world, but missed the game so much, missed the league, said, I got to get back in, and now he's starting at the bottom and really earning it. A terrific addition to that staff and the franchise, the Indiana Pacers.
Big game for Courtney Alexander, has 13 points. Here at one stretch this season that Courtney was headed elsewhere, as we discussed earlier. He just did not respond well when he lost his starting job. He was put on the injured list, and suddenly he is back in the picture.
You could not have been deeper in the bench than Courtney Alexander was. Give him credit, though. He got himself in better shape, like Tyrone Nesby, and he's now a valuable performer.
Foul on the Wizards is on Jordan. That's his second.
You see how Jordan is going right at Leon Wood. That's how he went at his teammate. You don't call a foul on me. What do you mean? The guy's holding me. See if Miller draws another foul.
Austin Crozier had the good run of the first half, is back on the floor. Rose for three.
And Michael Jordan looks right at his teammates and says, look, I don't need double team help defensively guarding Reggie Miller. When you double team, that just allows them to pick you apart with pinpoint passing.
89-79, that Washington lead is down to 10. Nice look from Lou, and Alexander able to put it home.
The back cutting has been terrific today. Pete Carrill must be ecstatic.
Oh, Rose beating the Wizards down court, and Tinsley was right on target.
You know, Doug Collins can't understand it, guys. This game is not over. And Jalen Rose is bringing them back. He's got 10 in the quarter.
27 in all for Rose. And yes, much time remaining, just under 7 minutes to go in the fourth. Jordan.
What a time. What power, what balance. What a competitor.
19 points for Jordan, along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. Jermaine O'Neal backing his way on Brendan Haywood. Miller for 3. And the loose ball foul. It's on Tinsley.
Well, Reggie Miller was trying to get into this big moment thing along with Jalen Rose, and this is a great save by Lou, because that ball was almost stolen and they were headed the other way.
But Steve, so much of basketball today is when one guy has the ball, everybody else is standing there watching. When Michael Jordan able to bail his team out up against the shot clock, if you keep moving and guys are willing to pass, the tone set by Jordan, then good things will happen.
Jordan not able to hit over Rose. He thought he was hacked, and now the foul is called. Danny Crawford pointing at Tyronn Lue. That is number 5 on Lue.
And that's a big factor. Doug Collins can't believe it. He wants the offensive foul here, but this is a lunge in by Lue, and when you put your shoulder and head into the offensive player, an easy play to call.
Well, O'Neal wants this, but he's not sure how to get it.
Well, he gets it. Jermaine O'Neal going right at
And
Brendan Haywood.
He's down, and Tinsley wisely takes the quick foul, and you hate to see an ankle thing. We saw Tim Thomas go down yesterday.
But he's had a history of ankle injury, and that's the one that always gives him problems, the left ankle, and he's up, and it's tender.
And that move by Jermaine was Marcus Wire-like as he went at Brendan Haywood. David Craig, the Pacer trainer, is out to take a look. Here's another look at that move.
If David Craig can't get him better, then the guy's probably going to need surgery. But this is a heartbreaking turn of events for the Indiana Pacers.
Well put. 5:46 remaining in the fourth. We'll be right back. Go. Jermaine O'Neal making a nice post-up move against Brendan Haywood. Went down following that move. It appeared to be an ankle.
Coming across and working his way. You know, he started, and as he comes down, he's going to catch the side of Tyrone Lue's foot. What is a little man doing in there anyway? And O'Neal has been trying to walk that thing off the entire time out. He's hoping that he's going to be able to get back in the ball game, but that is an ankle that has bothered him since his rookie season, and at least once a year he tweaks it, and he's hoping he can walk this thing off because he got a big date this weekend, next weekend. All-Star game.
5.5 remaining in the fourth. Whitney. And a loose ball foul against the Pacers.
But Steve, Pacers are in a dogfight for playoff position here. And this game today is so much more important than next Sunday's game.
For the team. You're always talking about
what it's about.
You're always talking about the team, but you know there are also guys that say, you know, I may only get one of these All-Star things, and I'm going.
Foul on Tinsley, putting the Pacers over the foul limit. Wizards now lead by 11. Looking ahead next Friday at 8 Eastern, 7:30 Pacific on NBC. The Olympic opening ceremony. That will include live musical performances by R. Kelly, Sting, and the Dixie Chicks. The Olympic opening ceremony Friday at 8 Eastern time, 7:30 Pacific on NBC.
Now, the next couple of possessions will tell us whether Reggie and the Pacers are going to get back in this game. They got to make some shots. They got to control some things.
Last touch by Jeff Foster.
I think one of the most impressive improvements in the Washington Wizards has been their individual defensive capabilities. Guys like Whitney, Tyrone Nesby, Richard Hamilton, able to guard guys one-on-one. That comes from Michael Jordan.
And Jermaine O'Neal is back on the floor. Look to play through it.
I'd go right at him. I just isolate him and just drive at him.
Hamilton.
There you go.
Been a sensational run for Jalen Rose. 27 points. At one stretch, he had 14 of the Pacers' 20 points. Tinsley lost sight of that pass from Rose. Let's check in with Lewis Johnson, who has more on Jermaine O'Neal. Lewis?
All right, Marv. Well, as you see Jermaine back on the court, I've just been told by the training staff that he has a mild to moderate sprain. The best way to see how serious it is to get back out on the court, not serious enough to keep him off the court at this point. Marv?
All right, thanks, Lewis. 4.5 remaining now in the fourth quarter. Hamilton has the baseline closed by Miller. Shot clock down to 5. Nesby.
Look at Hamilton above the rim.
And Michael Jordan is there for the putback.
Man, that's a huge play. That might be just enough to close him out. Technical foul.
Double technical.
As Jordan and Rose in a heated conversation going face to face. And then Tyrone Nesby steps between. Doug Collins comes over to settle down Michael Jordan, who is hot. Michael did not appreciate the early chatter from Jalen Rose as Rose got involved with Richard Hamilton.
That's Jalen's second technical of the game, so.
No. He didn't get a technical early.
He got a taunting technical.
Oh,
he tugged on his ear. And he's got to be gone. Why do you get involved in garbage like that?
Now for Jalen Rose, who's had the hot hand and helped lead Indiana back. Very foolish move to get involved as the Pacers lose him for the rest of the game. He had 22 of his 27 in the second half.
Steve, back to your point, what could be more important than the team? You talked about the individualism. Oh, that should have been a bumping foul right there as Michael Jordan restrains himself as Jalen ill-advisedly comes in with that shoulder to Jordan.
What Jordan was telling him, okay, I see how you want to play.
Right.
And, you know, I'll be back at the other end. You know, he does not take kindly to guys taking cheap shots at him, and that's what that was. Rose trying to retaliate, and it cost him, and they needed him out on the floor. Nice pass. Beautiful pass.
Foul on Hamilton. So that is team foul number 4 on the Wizards. Pacers already over the limit. Isaiah Thomas now goes with a front line of Foster, Crozier, and Bender. He's taken O'Neal out, Tinsley, and Miller at the guard.
How you handle adversity. You see Jalen Rose losing his mind there.
Crozier, crowd looking for a travel. Rebounded by Haywood.
And we saw yesterday, Philadelphia, they're poised under pressure. Maybe Walt Frazier, one of the absolute greatest ever at dealing with that adversity. He just always come back with his game to let that do the talking for him.
Jordan coming up short. 3.5 remaining in this fourth quarter.
Well, if ever there was a Miller time, it's now. And they got to start looking to Reggie Miller to make some shots.
Foul is called on Whitney, tripping up Tinsley.
Michael and Jalen had been getting into it here. Jalen trailing him in the bumping, the grabbing, the holding. Michael never stopping moving.
He took a shot right
Jordan
there.
hits him, bumps him off right there. And then when Jordan gets back in, Jordan pushes him to get his position. Jordan eventually works his way without ever having stopped moving, and then Jalen, after the end of that replay, came right in and just elbowed him or shouldered him, I guess.
Wait. Did you not see the elbows from Michael Jordan along the way to keep him off? That's what got Jalen Rose hot, trying to retaliate.
That's all part of the game.
Why is it when Jordan can do it, it's okay, and nobody else can do it?
Didn't say that at all.
Whitney for 3. Indiana's in trouble.
Their hot end has been ejected. The hot shooting continues for Washington. Where's the offense going to come from for the Pacers?
Well, it should come from Reggie Miller if they get him the ball. I mean, this is a time when Reggie has had some great exploits, but he can't get his hands on the ball.
An emotional scene on the Wizards bench. They feel it.
Jonathan Bender called for the foul with 2:53 remaining in this fourth quarter. Michael Jordan, Jalen Rose coming together, leading to the ejection of Rose. The game, they're 5 for 7 from downtown. They've turned it over only 7 times, and Michael Jordan providing the spark in the third quarter. And all, he has 21 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. See the numbers for the Wizards on the day. 20 assists, that's a high number. Jermaine O'Neal, we're told, will sit it out the rest of the way with a sprained left ankle as Michael Jordan adds to that Wizard lead. He shot well this afternoon, 11 of 19 for his 23 points.
Now, this is the best game that he's had, and again, without Harrington there to push him around and physically tire him out, Jordan has pretty much had his way and been a beast in his own right.
Foster rejected by Nesby. Crozier not able to hit, but Danny Crawford calling the foul. And Doug Collins up looking to settle down his team.
And a frustrating, disappointing day for Isaiah Thomas as his team has just been outworked. Michael Jordan doing everything. I think his greatest contribution today has been leadership, setting the pace early. The physical play underneath. Tyrone Nesby comes from the weak side to send it all back, and he comes right back, Nesby does. Does earn the foul, but what a fierce, competitive afternoon for Tyrone Nesby.
And now the Pacers beginning to empty their bench. Bender sits down, and Norm Richardson, rookie from Hofstra, undrafted, signed as a free agent, has spent most of the season on the injured list, checking in for the first time.
And how about Tyrone Nesby? Here's a guy who's 25 pounds heavier than he was 3 years ago when he signed that big free agent contract with San Antonio before the Clippers matched it. Was unhappy with the Clippers, and now he's finally found a home, gotten himself into a real NBA game here.
Off the turnover, and a rare one committed by the Wizards. Richardson for Foster. Well, Jeff Foster with his second field goal, and Washington now leads 102 to 89. Michael Jordan bouncing back from that career low 6-point game, just 2 for 10 from the field, December the 27th against the Pacers. Jordan shoveling to Nesby. Nesby had nowhere to go.
But remember what you asked at the start of the game. What's wrong with the Indiana Pacers? Plays like that. You know, shot selection, not keeping everybody involved, and that's what Isaiah Thomas has to work on. This team wants to make the playoffs. They want to improve on the year they had last year where they won 41, dropped 41, and they're playing at just about a 500 pace level.
It's like Michael came up hobbling, trying to walk it off.
I think the Pacers need better on-court leadership.
Well, you can't get leadership if people aren't willing to be that kind of a person. Who's going to be the leader?
You need to be more assertive. You got to be more concerned with the team. You're talking about, you know, Jermaine O'Neal more concerned with the All-Star game. You're talking about Jalen Rose, but the balance for the Washington Wizards. They have been the team today, while Indiana has succumbed to the temptations of selfishness.
Washington 6 of 8 from downtown. Whitney has hit 3 from three-point land. Michael Jordan hearing it from the crowd and sits down with 23 points on 11 of 19 from the field. So the Wizards will go to 24 and 21. This will be a third straight win, while the Pacers drop to 25 and 24. And the hot shooting continues. Hamilton now has 21 points.
Yeah, and they are a jump shooting team that had to make shots and has to control the tempo, and they did all of that today against a team that dominated them in the first 2 meetings.
Richardson is rejected.
Washington's had a very favorable schedule. It's going to get extremely difficult down the stretch. Jordan seems to be getting stronger. Will that continue? They haven't had many back-to-backs lately.
Tuesday night as the foul is called on Tinsley. Washington home for Toronto. Thursday home for Sacramento to complete the 4-game homestand. That leads to the All-Star break, and then a 3-game Western swing at the Lakers, at Sacramento, at Phoenix.
Get them while you can. Take them one day at a time. Michael Jordan icing them down.
Whitney at the line with 14 seconds remaining in the game. So Whitney with another standout performance, 17 points. Tyrone Nesby hears the applause, sits down with 10 points. Continues to play well. 10 points, 10 rebounds for Nesby.
Well, Doug Collins feels that Nesby's their best athlete, and if he can keep him focused, he gives them an extra energy guy, and they know that they're going to need it, as Tinsley's just going to dribble out the clock and accept the defeat.
So the Wizards with a 109-89 victory over the Pacers. Washington ends up shooting 52% from the field. Michael Jordan, 23 points. Richard Hamilton with 21. Let's go to Lewis Johnson.
All right, Marv, thanks a lot. Michael, congratulations on the win, but late in the fourth quarter, some fireworks. What was going on there between you and Jalen Rose?
Jalen and I, we play very competitively, and at times when we get tangled up, we're just trying to get the advantage on the other guy. And we got into a little bumping match, and I think he kind of carried it a little bit too far, but that's what happens when you got two competitors out there. I mean, I have high respect for him. I think he has high respect, but I know we try to play each other very, very tough, and it kind of got out of hand a little bit.
Do you remember the last time you played the Pacers and you only had 6 points and it was a tough loss? A little bit of motivation for tonight?
Well, it was motivation in the sense that I felt we didn't play well, and they played exceptionally well at home. The first half, I was just trying to get everybody involved. I know this team, they're going to try to do everything. They try to contain me early. I'm never going to be able to get my offense until I get somebody else involved in the offense. And Richard came in, got hot, So they got to pay attention to him a little bit, which, in the second half, as you see, I got better shots, better opportunities, and, that's when we're at our best.
All right, Michael, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Marv?
Thanks, Lewis. Michael Jordan with 17 of his 23 in the second half, showing the entire arsenal. Also hit from downtown today as the Wizards make it 5 wins in their last 6 games. We'll be back to the MCI Center in a moment.
Street.